Hi Scorpio, welcome to your reading. If you're new to the channel, I do timeless readings, which means that whenever you find this reading is when you're meant to hear the messages within it. And in case you subscribe, I upload my new videos for Taurus and Scorpio on Tuesdays. And for those of you who are interested, the deck that I'm using today is called the Ludy Lescott Tarot. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it's pronounced, but for those of you who are interested, that's L-U-D-Y-L-E-S-C-O-T. Right, and I'm just going to try to pull out one more card. And there it is. All right, so your overall energy here is the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is a very interesting card because to me it's the card of having found something that's worth fighting for. So I think that for a lot of you guys right now, you're maybe going through almost a spiritual path right now, and you're like trying to figure out what it is that you value sort of emotionally and morally, and just what your values are in general. I see the Hermit card here as well. I see a lot of major arcana actually. I see the Strength card, the Hermit card, and the Star card, which all happen to be cards that correspond with astrological signs. So for some of you, you may be dealing with Leos, Virgos, or Aquarians. But just take that with as extra confirmation. You don't necessarily have to be dealing with any of those signs. What's more important is the energy that those cards entail. And I think that with this Seven of Wands, you guys are very much in a hermit state right now. The hermit state talks about going within and seeing sort of what's going on in your inner world. So I think that now would be a great time for a lot of you guys to sort of do some yoga, some meditation, that kind of stuff. Clear your mind a little bit. Because I feel like for a lot of you guys, you might be having, I don't see the Nine of Swords here, but I feel almost that energy, sort of stress at night and maybe not being able to sleep the best. So definitely suggest stuff like trying meditation, trying to maximize your sleep, getting your full 8 hours, because I feel like for some of you, you have this Strength card in reverse, and that leads me, normally the Strength card talks about emotional or mental or spiritual strength, right? It's sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Subverts the typical expectation of what strength is. And I think that right now you guys are really trying to push forward that typical, sort of stereotypical idea of what strength is. So what I'm trying to say here is that you guys, I feel like for a lot of you guys, you're sort of powering through the night. I know that as a fixed sign, you guys have the tendency to really want to prove what you say. So I feel like a lot of you guys are saying things like, oh, well, I can do that in one night. So then you sit down and you're at it all night, and it's 3 a.m. and then it's 4 a.m. and it's 5 a.m. and you're just getting more and more tired. And sure, you get it done in one night instead of 2 or maybe even 3. But is the quality of your product as good as it can be in one night versus the 3 nights, right? And obviously it doesn't have to be like a product or anything. I just think that you guys should take care of yourselves with this Strength card. I think that you guys need to take care of your health a little bit right now. But what's very interesting is you have this Two of Wands here, or rather, sorry, the Three of Wands, right? And the Three of Wands to me is having already established your plan. And I think that for a lot of you, you may have already even taken action, But now you're waiting to sort of see what the fruits of your plan are, right? To see what the labor, what the result is. And it's very interesting because you have the Five of Pentacles here. And the Five of Pentacles talks about leaving someone out in the cold. And I think that for a lot of you guys, that might either have been intentional or unintentional. I think that for some of you, your plan was to intentionally leave someone out in the cold. And then for another group of you, that's sort of like a byproduct. Right? And on the bright side, you have the 4 going into the 5. And even the 3 of Wands, right? So you have 3, 4, 5. So I think that things are moving along pretty effectively, especially according to your plan or whatever movement it is that you're trying to take. I just looked at my clock and it was 555. So I am getting that you guys might be experiencing some synchronicities as well. Do be careful about hurting other people's feelings. Obviously, if that's one of the things that you care about, the well-being of other people. Don't act in ways that may hurt other people if that's what you're interested in, sort of maintaining your relationships with things. And it's very interesting because I'm seeing a star card in reverse, and the star is known for being very humanitarian. The story of the star is that an angel sort of comes and fills up the pond with water for thirsty travelers to drink, and then she takes some of that water and waters some of the nearby fauna, so that the travelers have food to drink, or rather food to eat, water to drink and food to eat. But the fact that it's in reverse almost feels like you guys might be being a little bit selfish with your resources right now, especially with this 4 of Pentacles. And like I was saying earlier, like, what is it that your goals are? Because if you're trying to maintain a relationship or looking for a relationship or whatever, now might be a time to sort of be a little bit more open and a little bit more giving. But it's very interesting. And I think that for a lot of you guys, your sort of new goal, your paradigm shift, if you will, has been that you're taking more time for yourself. I feel like recently you've been putting yourself second, and now that's what this 7 of Wands is. You've sort of decided to take the stance that you're going to be first, and you're going to look after your health first. And I think that's what is going on here. And as a result, a lot of you guys are being interpreted this way by other people, or being interpreted as the 5 of Pentacles, even though you're just looking after yourself. I know that a lot of times when you have toxic people in your life, or people that are interested in what you have to give, they can take and take and take, and it's almost like you have all these leeches on you, and when you stop giving, it's almost like, you know, they were so accustomed to the entitlement and receiving from you that it's almost like you're the bad guy, even though you're just taking care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else is going to. And if you're not in tip-top condition, then you can't give to other people. But I feel like you're in a situation right now where it's like, well, I understand that, but they don't. And I'm sorry, but I feel like right now you're just in a difficult situation. And I feel like you're going to need to sort of walk your own life path for right now, because I'm looking at this 10 of Pentacles, or sorry, this 10 of Cups. Wow, that was a journey, because I went through the Pentacles and then the Swords and then the Wands all either out loud or in my head, and then I finally landed in the 10 of Cups, right? So I feel like you're sort of going through all those motions and all those emotions, right? The 10 of Pentacles is what I like to call my happy wife, happy life card. Whereas the 10 of Swords talks about betrayal and backstabbing, literal backstabbing. And then the 10 of Wands talks about feeling like you need to shoulder all your burdens alone. And the 10 of Cups here talks about emotional fulfillment. So I feel like you've sort of gone through all those, and now you're sort of taking care of yourself first and foremost, right? And I really like the symbolism of here because there's a woman and what looks like to be her child. And then in the back, it's a little hard to tell, but there's two silhouettes of two people. And it's almost as if like they're out there partying, living it up, while you're taking care of all the responsibilities. I feel like a lot of you guys might be the breadwinner in the house, and you sort of feel like everyone's taking advantage of you. Right? And it might not even be like the house, it might be like people that need your help, and it might like transcend just your house. But there's this Four of Cups here, right? And the Four of Cups is a very interesting card because the number 4 is a card of stability, right? And that sort of contradicts a little bit what the concept of cups is, because the cups are very fluid, very mutable, very moving. But in reverse, it almost feels like you feel this new invigoration, because when you see the Four of Cups upright, it sort of symbolizes longing and wanting more out of a situation, not necessarily feeling motivated or wanting to actually take charge of the situation. But the fact that it's in reverse, it almost feels like you guys are being a lot more motivated, right? I'm looking at this card, the Four of Cups. It almost looks like this woman has a love letter written, and at the last moment she sort of what's the word I'm looking for? For some reason, I'm having such a hard time trying to communicate my thoughts, and I feel like you guys are probably experiencing a lot of the same. You want to say things in a certain way, and when they sound so much better in your head, and then when you go to say them, you can't quite communicate the way you would like. But I feel like at the very last minute, she sort of has a change of heart and feels too anxious about the situation and stops and doesn't give her her partner the letter. But I feel like in the reverse, that scenario doesn't happen, and you just sort of go through it, and I feel like are happier as a result. Even if you're rejected, at least you know. And I feel like that's the kind of energy that you're in, is that at least you know at least you're in charge of your own decisions. And I feel like you're receiving this level of like autonomy that you didn't really have before because so many people depended on you. But I feel like you've decided to fight for yourself. But that was your reading for this time around, Scorpio. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like or a comment because it really helps out the channel. And I really like to know if these readings resonate with you guys. But like I said before, I upload my new Scorpio videos on Monday. But in the meantime, you guys are more than welcome to watch any of my other timeless readings. And with that, I hope to see you guys next time for your next reading.